One key piece of gear for any hiking trip is usually a sleeping pad. Now, not everyone uses a sleeping pad. Some people choose to just gather a bunch of leaves together and use that for padding, or sleep in a hammock, which you might not need a pad. But for most of us, when we're going on a hiking trip, a sleeping pad is a key piece of gear. So today we'll be talking about the 3 different variations of sleeping pads. There's the self-inflating kind, the fully inflatable kind, and the closed cell foam kind. Now, this won't exactly be a full review of each of these exact brands of sleeping pads. It'll be more of an overview, so you can choose which type of pad is right for your hiking trip. First up, we're going to be looking at the Trail Pad from Eastern Mountain Sports. This is the women's version, and the women's and men's versions are very similar, but this is my wife's sleeping pad, and we already had it, so this is what we'll be using today. Okay, time to bust out the old scale and see how much the Trail Pad weighs. The readout might be a little hard to see, but it comes in at 1 pound and 10.9 ounces. Now I'll show the inflation and deflation of the EMS Trail Pad and give you some stats. So the Trail Pad is 66 inches long and 1 inch thick when inflated. When my wife bought this about 10 years ago, it cost around $80, and the prices haven't changed much. For this type of trail pad, you can expect to pay between $60 and $100 depending on the brand. This type of sleeping pad is known as self-inflating. What that means, all you have to do is open a little valve on the end and just leave the pad alone by itself for a little while, and after a few minutes it will have inflated a little bit, enough that some people might find it comfortable. I've found in the past that I do need to give it a couple of extra breaths in order to give it a little bit more firmness and actually make it comfortable. This pad has mostly been used for car camping with a few hiking trips thrown in, and that's the main reason why it's lasted 10 years. To deflate it, it actually takes a little bit longer than the other sleeping pad. That's why Stan came in to help me. Next, we'll be looking at the Fox Outfitters Airlite 100 Regular. You can see the dimensions right there on the side, 20 inches by 72 inches by 3.5 inches when inflated. Now let's check how much the Airlite 100 weighs. It comes in at 1 pound 12.2 ounces. This Fox Outfitters sleeping pad is a fully inflatable sleeping pad. And these types of sleeping pads can range anywhere from about $50 to about $200. We bought this one about a month ago on Amazon for $49.99. It had great reviews, and so far we really like it. One interesting thing about this sleeping pad is that there are actually 2 different ways you can inflate it. You can use the standard nozzle on the end and blow into it like you would any other pad, or you can use the foot pump, which is built into it. To use the built-in pump, you just open the plug on the end of the pad, and then you step on the hole over and over again, and this pumps air into the mattress. I've tried this method along with the other method, and both seem equally effective. Whichever method you choose, it takes about 3 minutes before the pad is fully inflated. And compared to the other 2 pads, this one is definitely the thickest of the 3. Deflating this fully inflatable sleeping pad took about as much time as the self-inflating sleeping pad, but the good thing is this kind fits into its holding sack much easier. Finally, we have the Thermarest Z-Lite. This pad I took with me when I hiked the Oregon Coast Trail last summer, and I took a similar pad with me when I did my thru hike of the Appalachian Trail in 2011. Now we'll put the Z-Lite on the scale and see how much it weighs. It comes in at 13.9 ounces, which is the lightest of the 3 pads we looked at today. The Thermarest Z-Lite costs about $30, which makes it a great value. And since you don't have to inflate it or deflate it, when you get to camp you can set up really fast, and when you go to leave you can get everything packed up really fast as well. So to summarize, all 3 variations of the sleeping pad have their pros and cons. For example, the self-inflating sleeping pad will take up the most room in your pack. It's one of the heavier of the 3. It is rather comfortable, but you're always running into that threat of it deflating on you or getting a hole punctured in it. When I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail, some of my friends had this type of sleeping pad, and they were constantly patching it, or would sleep on the cold ground when it would deflate in the middle of the night. So for car camping or small hikes, this might be a good option, but for longer or extended hikes, probably not. Then there's the fully inflatable sleeping pad. Now, this one was only $50. There are some that range up to like $300, and a lot of people swear by these because they are really comfortable and they don't take up much room in your pack compared to the self-inflating kind. This one appears to be pretty durable. The foot pump thing is a cool option, but for me, I'd always run into that fear of it deflating or getting a hole in it or something like that, and that's just not worth it on a long trip. My favorite out of the three is the Thermarest Z-Lite, the closed cell foam sleeping pad. I particularly like the Z-Lite because of how fast you can pack it and unpack it. And another bonus feature of this is I would wear it on the bottom of my pack, so if I happen to slip or my feet would come out from underneath me, instead of smashing my tailbone on a rock, this would cushion my fall, which actually happened maybe 20 or 30 times over a long hike. So this is definitely my favorite pad. So thanks for watching, and keep your eye out for more videos I'll have in the future.